episode of MJ's Progress Not Perfection. Today's guest is Ellery. Ellery and I met really early on in my sobriety, and she was about 6 months sober into her sobriety. We get into all that and a lot more. We get into how relapse can be part of your story and how you can bounce back and learn things from it. So we're going to talk about all that and a lot more. Well, welcome to the show, Ellery. I appreciate, you taking the time to sit down and talk.
First, thank you. Sorry about last week.
That's fine. It's been so long. I haven't seen you in like 3 years since I was
Yeah.
in LA.
Yeah.
So how much time do you have now? I forget what you had then.
On September 25th, I will have 3 years.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Did you have a relapse after I left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, I stayed sober that first time like 10 months. And then what happened, sorry, my cats are all over the place. And then what happened was that, I did the thing that like everybody does and stopped really like going to as many meetings and like started dating this dude that relapsed, and then like, got it into my head that it would be a good idea for me to smoke weed and that I would be fine. Like, I was 20, I'm like, oh, I can just smoke weed, and like plot twist, surprisingly to everybody, I could not just smoke weed.
Wait, was that you were dating? Was it?
Yeah.
You relapsed too?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I haven't talked to him in a long time. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but
I only knew him from like you. So like
yeah, he relapsed, and then I relapsed, and then my whole relapse was only like maybe a few weeks, like 5 weeks, maybe 6, because I went downhill real quick.
So first it was you smoked, and then you drank, and then
actually I think I did drink first, but like honestly within a week I was like popping sands and doing blow, and then like within a few weeks was like sticking needles in my arm and like living in Torrance with like a different dude. So like there was just my parents did the best thing they ever could have done for me and kicked me out like pretty soon into it. I don't remember a lot of it, but it forced me to like get sober again real quick because I was really like out of options, I work in treatment now, and I always tell people like the people who I see come into treatment over and over and over and over again are the people whose family will not hold boundaries with them, and like who will continue to give them money and like bail them out and like send them back to treatment.
I was gonna say send them back to rehab,
mm-hmm.
to the same rehabs over and over. Definitely.
And those are we have some right now, and those are the people who I just see like, and I get it totally. Like I can't imagine. Oh my God, I can't imagine like what I put my parents through. I can't imagine like I was so awful. I was like screaming at them like, you're ruining my life. And I really can't imagine like what that would have been like for them and how hard it would be as a parent. But it was the best thing they ever did for me, was like holding that line.
Yeah, I feel like that got you back faster because you realized you were losing everything again so fast.
I was out of options. I mean, like I was 20 years old. I had no job, no money. I was like living with this dude who like was supporting us via like a job at Home Depot, which is like not enough money to sustain two people's drug habits,
Yeah.
And I ran out of options really quickly. And pretty immediately, like after I went back to detox, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't the right, like, I'm done, like I'm super clear that like, I'm not a person who gets to like go in and out. Like that's not my story. Because what happens is like, when I go out very quickly. And like, I didn't even bat an eye at fucking shooting up, which was something I was like never gonna do, right? And then like I truly didn't bat an eye at it. And so I was like, oh, okay, like I'm the kind of alcoholic who's gonna die very, very quickly.
You didn't shoot up in your previous addiction? Like,
No.
no? We'll get there. Okay. So actually, let's reset because now your family's in LA, but you're from, where I'm from, Philly area
Right.
originally, the suburbs, right?
No, I lived in Philly. So
Oh, okay.
I lived in Mount Airy, which I guess kind of has a suburban feel to it, but it's in the city.
Yeah,
like
it's
my address was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too far. I was right over the bridge, right outside of Camden.
Yeah.
So, that's when you started though. That's where you started.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny, my roommate now, she's actually from outside Philadelphia too.
The Jersey side or the Pennsylvania side?
Pennsylvania. She lived in Doylestown. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know her from then. But yeah, when I was in high school, I it's like the thing where it's like I can remember from the time I was even really little, like before I even started using, like whenever I'm speaking at meetings, I always tell people, my mom will say, when I was really little, I always wanted to go on the tire swing really, really fast all the time, like longer than everybody else. And then I would get off and, you're like all dizzy when you go on something super spinny. And then the second I stopped like being dizzy, I wanted to get right back on and like go spin again. And so I think I'm just personally of the belief that like I was born this way, like, so when I was in high school.
Were your parents drinkers or addicts or anything?
I mean, they drank.
Yeah, but no, yeah, we all drank from that area. But I mean, like they weren't like alcoholics. They weren't like in the program where you saw.
No.
Okay, that's what I was. Okay.
No, my dad was like, my dad likes to party.
Yeah.
But when it became clear, like not in the way that like
there's a difference.
I did, you know what I mean?
There's a difference. I get it.
Now they'll both like smoke weed, but that's really it. My mom doesn't even drink anymore. She just stopped because she said sometimes, so it's so insane to me. She just stopped. She said sometimes it made her stomach hurt, and so she just would rather not take the risk. Can you imagine that? Like sometimes drinking might make me feel a little bit icky, so I'm just not gonna drink. She hasn't drank in like 2 years. The fuck is that shit? It's insane. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I wish I could be a good enough reason to stop.
I know.
That would be cool, because like my stomach hurting from pills, oh my god, I would have stopped day one.
I know. So they were normal.
Yeah.
But I always had really bad anxiety. So like in high school, I would have these like anxiety attacks, and I would see a psychiatrist, so I was prescribed Ativan. And I started smoking weed and drinking. I smoked a lot of weed. I never really liked drinking. I didn't like the taste. Like I did because I'm an alcoholic, but
you like the effects it produced more than the taste.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I didn't fuck with it. It always made my stomach hurt. I didn't really early on in like, I think when I was a freshman, I went to this party and I was like somehow friends with this guy who was like a junior or something. He was having a party at his house. And so at first I was at this party with kids from my grade, and I just chugged like all of this like whipped cream flavored vodka. Ew. And was so obliterated. Then these like older guys came pick me up, take me to their house. And like they were good people and like really took care of me. But I went to this party with all these upperclassmen and was just puking in the bathroom the entire time. And like after that, I never really fucked with like cheap vodka. Like even when I was in high school, like I really liked drinking wine. I drank a lot of wine. Like I drink cheap wine, but I drank a lot of wine. I would drink a lot of like IPAs. Like I was always like a bougie drinker.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Like tequila, I would drink Absolute, but I wouldn't drink.
Cassers.
No. I didn't like brown liquor. I never would like. If the only option of drinking was brown liquor, I just wouldn't drink. Hi, Stinky. And hi, baby. But I really like smoking weed from the jump. Loved it, smoked a lot. I figured out pretty early on that like if I took an Ativan, I could drink a lot less and get equally fucked up. Have a good massage. Love you. The cats want to be on the podcast too. Sorry.
Every time like I'm on the laptop or my wife's on the laptop, the cats are just all over it. We had to buy a mini one for $10 on Amazon. It's a little cat one that looks like a MacBook, and
Stop.
they can see their faces in it now. And that's all they're really trying to do is mirror you. So yeah, that's all they do now is like we have two cats, Scuba and Diver. And Scuba just like knocks down the screen every time she sees her face and the reflection of it.
Oh, that's so cute.
But it's like $10 on Amazon. Just type in like mini cat laptop.
Mini cat laptop. I will buy it.
Pops right up. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It came in like 2 days. They're all shit ready to go.
That's so fun. Wow. Yeah, no, we have 3. They're kind of all over the place. 2 are mine technically, and 1 is my roommate's. But it's a lot of cats around here. Is that Archie under there?
So
anyway,
you were saying that you realized when you took an Ativan and you drank, you realized that you didn't need to drink as much because the Ativan gets you halfway there, basically.
Right. And I really liked that. So like as time went on, I would steal like more pills from my mom, and I would, in retrospect, do really shady shit, right? But like I didn't think that it was a problem because I was able to manage this like double life pretty well in high school, where like my mom worked at my school, and so I did really well in school. I was always really good at school. So I like got all A's in all these honors and AP classes, and like won one of the biggest awards at graduation, and like was the head of like 7 clubs, and was able to do the like this thing very easily. And then like on the weekends or when I wasn't at school, by the time I was a senior, I was like hanging out with all these people who went to Temple in North Philly and like doing a whole like buying Xanax, buying a whole bunch of Coke, like getting incredibly loaded. I remember like in retrospect, I can look back at it and see that like it was absolutely a problem. My senior prom, I had this boyfriend who obviously I'd met because he was my drug dealer, and he went to prom, and I wanted him to get Coke, and he didn't, and he couldn't or something, and I was so mad at him the entire prom. I pouted, I screamed at him. It was awful. I had a terrible time. One time I found out he did Coke in the bathroom with someone else, and like in the men's room, right, where like I wasn't there, and I was livid at him. I wouldn't speak to him for the entire night. Meanwhile, this dude is like at my high school fucking prom. So like that's not normal behavior.
Yeah.
I see that now. I didn't see that at the time. I thought because I could like put on, because I did well in school, that it was fine. And like my parents knew that I drank, and they knew I smoked weed.
Yeah, they knew we all did that. I feel like it was okay.
Yeah, they didn't have a problem with it. I mean, they didn't love it. Of course they would prefer that I didn't, but their stance was always kind of like, we're not idiots. We know you're going to do it no matter what. So either like you can do it and lie to us, and we can have a really contentious relationship. And like, if God forbid something happens and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and you don't have your ride home is drunk and something, like you can either not have us as an option to call and like, something really bad could happen, or you can know that like you can call us and like you're not going to be in trouble. So that was always like their thing, was like they were like, we can
Are you the oldest or the youngest, or?
No, I have one little sister. So they knew I did that, but they didn't know about all the other stuff in high school. So I got into this college in LA, or it's outside of LA. That's like this really good school. I only applied there. I applied there early decision. The college counselor was like, "You'll absolutely get in." I went and visited, and I had some friends that I'd known from like summer camp and stuff that went there, and so I just partied the whole time and had a great time. And I was like, "Great, this is where I'll go to school." And then so I was gonna come out here anyway. Then coincidentally, my mom got offered a really good job out here, and so my family moved here too. I had to move here I was supposed to stay in Philly for the summer, and I ended up not staying in Philly for the summer because what happened was we had gone to Wildwood, and I got really drunk and then puked all over. Please excuse them. Puked all over my car on the way home, and then had my boyfriend drop me off, and then was like, "You need to go get the car washed, and also obviously you need to go get cocaine because I have to babysit in the morning, and I'm not gonna be able to do that without coke." So, 30 seconds after he dropped me off, he dropped me off. I lived right off of Lincoln Drive, kind of. And then he called me before I even got in the door of my house and was like, "I totaled your car and I'm bleeding." And he had taken a turn too fast and gone that part of Lincoln Drive where there's woods, a hill, woods on one side, and then this stream or creek or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So he had gone over the median and up into the woods, into a tree. Please don't jump on my computer right now. It's not the time. And the whole passenger side of the car was ripped off. He was okay, thank God. He had to get some stitches, but the whole passenger side of the car was ripped off. All the cops were like, "If you were in that car, there's absolutely no chance that you would have survived." My parents were like, "You can't live with this person for the summer. He almost killed you." And I thought they were ruining my life, of course. And "Fuck you guys," but I didn't really have a choice. So then I moved here with a couple days notice with them. And I really don't remember a lot of the first really year and a half that I lived here. All that I know is I just got really loaded the whole time, and I dated more drug dealers, and I finished one semester of college. I started 2 others that I didn't finish. I got this cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome where I smoked so much weed that I was puking all the time, and the doctor I couldn't eat anything. I was losing weight. I couldn't stop puking. Yeah, it's you get these toxic levels of cannabis in your body. And the doctor was like, "You have to stop smoking weed," which obviously wasn't an option for me. So then I started taking even more Xanax because I figured out that if I took enough Xanax, I wouldn't puke from the weed. And then also doing cocaine because I had to stay awake and live my life.
Would that have anything to do with the cannabinoids getting that high? Because I've smoked a lot of weed, but I'm a big dude. And if you're on that much coke and not eating, you had to have been skin and bones at that point.
Yeah,
with no nutrition. So you think the cannabinoids had to have gotten that high because you had nothing else in your system?
I have no idea, honestly. I
heard you have to be smoking your body weight basically for that shit to happen. So I could see you being skin and bones 80 pounds soaking wet and then smoking all this weed and be so dehydrated, be dying from between the drink and the weed. And
well, I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
I think I weighed 110 or something that.
Which is
very thin for someone of my height. Right.
Yeah.
Of course, I still thought that I was fat, but that's besides the point. I don't know why I got it. I was doing a lot of dabs.
Okay.
And taking a lot of edibles.
Those are really high concentrated. You pop a couple of edibles that are 1,000 milligrams all of a sudden, especially in LA. It's not like it's the Pennsylvania fucking
no.
shit out here.
I was like drinking like these lemonades that were like 3,000 milligrams of THC. Like,
yeah, okay. That makes more sense.
All the time.
That makes a lot more sense than just like smoking a lot of blunts.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I did smoke a lot of blunts, but that was like the baseline. You know?
That's just to keep you there. But
like that wasn't the goal. The goal was like, and so, and
yeah, you definitely can't smoke weed in sobriety.
No.
You can't be Cali sober.
No.
No.
So then I just started taking more and more. I really don't, honestly, it's like, I really don't remember a lot of it. I know like what happened was like at the end, like I had started smoking meth.
How did you get introduced from, I assume you were blowing coke.
Yeah.
So how do you go from like blowing lines to be like, yeah, I'll smoke some meth? Like, is there a
I don't care. I'll do whatever is offered to me.
Okay, so you were with somebody that had it and it was like, hey, look at this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's more or less what I meant. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever crosses my path, like I'll do. I don't care.
Yeah, I always say more. I was addicted to more.
Yeah, like if it had crossed my path sooner, I would have done it sooner.
That's
I didn't.
True.
So then it was like another drug dealer boyfriend. And so then by the end, I was like smoking heroin, smoking meth, taking 20 to 30 milligrams of Xanax a day, drinking daily, smoking weed all day, every day, also doing hundreds of whippets a day.
Holy, can we just pause for a second? Holy shit. Like, the 20 to 30 milligrams of Xanax a day, how bad was your detox? Like,
it wasn't good, no. It was
we'll get there.
I detoxed for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, because, like, you could have fucking died.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure they told you that. That's for people that don't know that are watching. That much Xanax and detoxing is a death sentence.
Any like amount of benzos and drinking.
It's easy to do. It's so easy to eat 30 milligrams or below 30 milligrams of bars in a day because they go down so easy.
Well, especially when you're doing methamphetamine and you're awake. You're not going to pass out. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people can't take that much Xanax. Well, also, at that point, it's like years of a tolerance built up, right? Because like Ativan's a benzo builds up your same tolerance.
Yeah, so most people, they take a bar or two and they're just like out cold for 14 hours.
Right.
Just dead.
Right. So I had a tolerance and then also was doing meth. So like, you're not going to fall asleep. I wasn't going to fall asleep, Like, I just kept taking it. So if I wasn't asleep, then I could just keep taking it.
What happened at the end of that run of 20 to 30 milligrams a day and the meth and everything? Where did that run end?
So, like, the dude I was with, who I was, like, getting all these things from, was like, I don't want to be with you. I can't ruin your life. You're, like, I'm watching you die. Can't do that. We got in this huge fight. It was, like, throwing things at each other in an alley. Then I started, like, kind of living with this girl. And, like, I was supposed to be at college. I was enrolled in college. And every day I would be like, I'm going to go to college, right? Like, I'm going to go back to school. But, like, I couldn't get myself back there. I would just be, like, smoking meth in Santa Monica. And
were you supposed to be living on campus?
Yeah, I had an apartment there. Or I lived in like a commune house. It's like a real hippie school. My parents had my location. I don't even, essentially like the end of the semester was coming up. And in my mind, what happened is like, I knew I was going to get in trouble because I knew they were going to find out I hadn't been going to this school that they were paying $60,000 a year for me to go to. And I didn't want to get like yelled at. And then also this girl that I had been living with had been like in and out of the room. It still is, I'm pretty sure. But like had been in and out of AA for a while. I was like, we need to get sober. And what my mom says, because again, like I really don't remember. The thing is, like the whole like 2 years before I got sober, even times when like I individually at that moment was not loaded, I really don't remember like anything mostly from that like whole 2 year period. Just because like by the time I got sober, I was 19, so like my brain was still developing. I was doing so much xanax and like so much just everything, even in periods where I wasn't like that loaded at that moment. I just don't remember anything. And like I have almost 3 years sober, I still don't remember like a lot of stuff. My mom will still tell me
yeah.
that
Yeah, xanax just has a way of wiping your memory.
Yeah, so my mom said I turned in some essay that was like pages long of just gibberish, like not even sentences. And then somehow my professor got like my therapist number or something and sent it to my therapist. I don't know. I don't remember. But essentially like I told my therapist, and then we told my parents, and they were like, you have to go to rehab. I was like, fine, whatever. I just thought I'd like take a quick little like tolerance break. And then they sent me to Betty Ford in Palm Springs. And I was there for like a couple days, and then I didn't want to be there. So I called my dad and was like, if you don't pick me up, I'm going to like find my way back to LA and sell myself on the streets. So he picked me up, dropped me off at another rehab. I liked it better. I stayed there for like 9 or 10 days, and then I was still detoxing, and I was like, fuck this shit. I made up some whole fucking excuse that I believed at the time, right? Like in retrospect, I can see all these things with a lot more clarity, but at the time, like I believed I didn't have a problem. I believed everybody was being dramatic. I believed that I was justified in leaving this rehab because one staff member had said one thing to me that I didn't love, and that they wouldn't let this girl who was like on heroin come visit me, and that was rude. So I left, ran away. And then
Was that New Start? Did you ever go to New Start?
No. It was ARC.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I left, I knew I made a mistake. And so I was only gone for like 24 or 48 hours or something. I was like in contact with them the whole time. I just smoked weed the whole time I was gone because I knew I needed to go back. So they took me back. It was terrible. I left. This girl was in psychosis. Like, so this is not it, like this is not what I want.
This is,
there's not evil spirits in the bong. I'm just trying to get loaded. I don't know. I saw the writing on the wall, moment of clarity, whatever you want to call it. And so I went back, and then I met like this girl who's like my best friend to this day. And we were roommates, and she had been in and out of treatment for a long time, and she really helped me a lot, like stay sober and come to terms with it all. And we went to meetings, and I did outpatient, and I went to sober living, and that's when you met me. I think when I had maybe 6 months or so.
I think so. I could have swore I remember you were coming up like on 10 months or something like that.
Yeah, that was like right before I got loaded. So
I left at the end of July, early August. Like the last time I remember seeing you.
Because 4th of July I was sober, but I was doing sus shit. Like I was taking way more I was like trying to snort my gabapentin or something ridiculous like that. Like not even, it doesn't even do anything. And like roll tobacco cigarettes for no reason.
I think the last time I saw you was outside of West Hollywood Recovery Center. I was like leaving something there, and that was right around when like Demi Lovato overdosed. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last time I was actually there. And because I left suddenly. I didn't leave like planned leaving. You know what I mean? Like we had a death in the family basically, and I was like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm working a program. I'm gonna continue the program. I need to be with my family. So I came back, and I ended up. It took me a little bit to I ended up not even working out with AA here. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. AA is not the same in Pennsylvania as it is, out in California, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we could recover here. We're lucky.
Yeah, and I'm not in the city or anything either. Like, I'm up in Bloomsburg.
I don't even know where that is.
It's like Up by the Poconos, kind of.
Oh, so you're in the boondocks.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Like meth is everywhere around us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the drug of choice around here. Is like my sponsee is like just had 3 months clean for meth for the first time since he was 14, and he's 31.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So this time rehab is working. You met somebody that you're friends with, so it's actually fun.
Right. So then I stayed sober for like, I did the program and then I stopped essentially, you know, like I just kind of stopped doing the things I needed to do. And
did you have a sponsor when I met you? Like that first 10 months?
Yeah,
that you were going?
I didn't really call her that much, and I kind of stopped doing my step work, and I kind of stopped really going to meetings as much, and started doing like more sus shit. Like I would take pre-workout to like work at the jewelry store, and was depressed, and like just when there was weed in front of me, I just was without defense. It's just like it says in the big book, like I was without defense against the first drink. I just didn't, it's the same thing that it says in the big book. I vaguely sensed I was doing something that wasn't all that right, but I didn't have anything to stop me. So then I relapsed, went over that, didn't last very long, didn't go well, threw everything away immediately, lost my entire fucking everything. Went back to detox, and then was like, pretty immediately was like, okay, I learned my lesson. I can't do this in any capacity. Like I can't, no, it just doesn't. I have to be completely sober, and that's it. Like, and so I went to the same rehab I had gone to before. They knew me. They were like, look, you don't have to do residential if you commit to going to outpatient for a year and sober living for at least 3 months. It's like, okay.
Because this detox wasn't that bad. Probably a couple of days.
I mean, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It wasn't,
terrible.
A 2-3 year run worth of where you were before.
Yeah.
Either, this was 5 weeks of going down fast, but still like.
Yeah.
More manageable when you get into detox.
Yeah, exactly. So, I went to sober living. I ended up being in sober living for 9 months, and doing outpatient for 9 or 10 months too. The ownership of the treatment center shit changed during that time. The people who had been running it before, and like most of their clinical team, left and opened a different place, which is actually where I work now.
Oh, okay.
And I just I did things differently than I had done the first time. And I stuck with women was a huge thing for me. I never really had female friends. Like I didn't like women. I was terrified of them. I went to this all girls school growing up. Like I hated women. And this time around, like I surrounded myself in every capacity, like as friends, too, with women who, I mean, it took me a little bit to learn the lesson, right? Like there was all this drama in my first sober living, and I was shitty. The other girls were shitty. Like I learned this lesson pretty early on, right? Because I'd been friends with these girls in the sober living, and then they kind of started being mean to me. And I was by no means perfect in that capacity. Like I was also shitty, and but it was terrible, and I wanted to get loaded. And like I had friends at the time who like weren't at that sober living. Like once I'd gotten in these fights with these girls, and I had friends who would like pick me up and just sit with me in their car fucking until curfew, because I just wanted to get loaded, and they would just be like, no, that's not an option, and they would just like hold me hostage until I had to go home. Bobby, I can't talk to you right now. And what happened was like all these girls who I had been living with in the same room. And then I moved because of all this drama. They all ended up getting loaded together in that room. They were all like, one night came out, they all shot up. And, or at least like 3 of them. And again, it was like another moment of clarity where it was like, I had like 2 months sober at the time. And I was like, if I had, that was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Because I would like to say that I wouldn't have gotten loaded. But like, I'm a junkie. And if it was in front of me and I had 60 days sober, like I probably would have gotten loaded, you know? Like I would like to think that I wouldn't, but like, I probably would have.
60 is a lot closer than 0 than 10 months. It's a lot easier to reset than 60. Like, I get it.
So I was like, okay, cool. That was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And in that first 3 months I was at that one sober living, like I wanted to leave. There was all this shit happening. I desperately wanted to leave. I desperately thought that like I would have been justified in leaving, like all of these things. But what I did that was different than the first time was I just took direction. And so like all of the people around me who I trusted, my case manager at IOP, like were just like, no, just stick it out. Like just stick it out one more week. Just stick it out one more week. Just stick it out one more week. And then that happened with them getting loaded. And I ended up, after the 3 months we're up there, going to a different sober living where I had a different experience. And, but I took direction and it paid off. Right.
It's funny how that works.
And I learned not to trust my own thinking. I learned not to trust my own gut. My best thinking had gotten me there. I could not trust myself. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm a gnarly addict and a gnarly alcoholic. And also, I was 20 this time. I don't know shit, you know? So I went to this new sober living and I just kind of made more friends with the staff than I did the other clients there, because I was like, my friends are the people that I'm talking to all the time. And my friends are the people I'm talking to all the time. Like I can call my sponsor and stuff, but my friends are the people who like I'm always with. So if my friends have just as much time sober as me, so also are just as ignorant as me, also are making inclined to make poor decisions like I am, they're not going to hold me accountable. I'm not going to get better. So I found a whole bunch of women who I looked up to, not just in the way that they were in AA, not just in the way that they showed up in the rooms, but the way that they showed up in their lives, the way they showed up at their jobs, the way they showed up. I found women who walked through the world as sober women of Alcoholics Anonymous in a way that I aspired to be like. And if I wanted those women to respect me and to take me seriously as like a friend, not as a client or not as just like a newcomer, I had to behave in a way that those women would respect, right? And so like, I'm not saying I was perfect. I did lots of fucked up shit. Like I made lots of mistakes. And I didn't get loaded no matter what. I didn't drink or use no matter what. And I had people around me who held me accountable all the time and who called me out on my bullshit. And when I was being a fucker, would call me on it. When I was like being indignant or behaving poorly, would call me on it. And eventually and I went to meetings pretty much every single day, with the exception of like a day or two here and there, right? Like pretty much every single day for my first 10 months, almost year of sobriety. I went to meetings every single day.
The old stomping grounds that you still go to there?
I didn't. Well, I moved to the east side for a bit, so I stopped. I live more closest to West Hollywood now, but so I didn't really go to I secretaried a meeting for the first, I got this secretaryship by a fluke. When I had 2 months sober, it was like a co-secretary thing. And they wanted a girl to be involved in some capacity. And because there hadn't been a female secretary in a while and no other women wanted to do it. And by the end, the guy kind of moved away. So the other secretary. So I kind of did it, but that was super helpful. It held me really accountable. It forced me to go up to speakers at meetings and get their numbers, right? And go up to people I wouldn't have otherwise gone up to and get their numbers because I needed them to speak for me, and build a lot of relationships that I might not have otherwise built, and get really comfortable talking to people in AA. And
I feel like I spoke at one of your meetings when you were secretary at 26 and Broad. Now that I think about it, I just had a flashback of.
Was I secretary of 26 and Broadway ever?
I think on a Thursday. Was it a Thursday or a Tuesday? It was a weekday. And I remember you used to text me. You'd be like, "Hey, I'm running late. Can you find me somebody to do the readings?" Because you knew I was going to be there.
Really?
Yeah. I definitely remember because I would be there usually with Jace. And
I believe you. I don't my memories. My memory's fucked.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, but now I forgot all about it until you just said that.
Yeah. That's so funny. Well, this time I was the secretary of Marina Center.
Okay.
I did that, and I got a commitment at another meeting. And
which one at Marina? I'm curious.
It was at it was the Monday night Marina Center, the 7:30. The big.
Oh, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All the rehab show up to that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Served my ego nicely too, Yeah. Get up in front of a room. Every once in a while, we get clients at work who I know you from the Marina Center, and I'm like, and
I missed their late nights.
Yeah.
They were my favorite.
Mm-hmm. And so I did that. I got a secretary. I got a commitment at See You Next Tuesday at the West Hollywood Recovery Center.
It's still the name.
Mm-hmm. I've been secretary. I'm actually speaking there tonight because I was just secretary of that meeting for a year.
That was the last time I saw you. Was See You Next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know, that's the name of a meeting in West Hollywood where you're not calling each other anything.
Mm-hmm. I went to, I just finished this year-long, actually, yes, it was a little more than a year-long co-secretaryship of that meeting. So I'm speaking there tonight. So I'm going to do a lot of talking about myself today. I had therapy before this, so we're just really
digging in.
A lot of narcissism today, from me, but
at least it's not your 3-year yet. Wait, when's your 3-year again? The 25th?
September 25th, yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna release this episode on the 25th then.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. So I have somebody else that's the 22nd, and then I'm doing my birthday is the 29th. It's my belly button birthday, but that's what I'm gonna have. I already recorded mine last week, but that's when I'm gonna put that episode out. So I've been trying to do shit like that for people. Yeah. Like one girl got off probation on the 7th, federal probation. So I put her episode up that day to celebrate it and shit like that. So yeah, there's been a lot this month. There's been also a lot of stories. I'm just where there was a dude that he was like, yeah, so I was a drug addict from 5 to 50. And I was like, 5. And he was like, yeah, that's what happens when your aunt and stepdad drug you up for 5 years so they can molest you. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be one of those interviews. All right, let's strap in. All right, that's, there was a girl down to 70 pounds being sex trafficked for 5 years that I talked to. But now she goes into those courts and takes girls out of there that she identifies as they're trafficked, and she gets them into a program that she got in. So all the stories have silver linings, and good, except for that dude 5 to 50. He's at 10% heart function. He's on his way out. I thought he died because he wasn't opening my message for 4 days, and I was a nervous wreck that he got done his interview and then he died. And then he added me on Facebook, and I was like, oh, thank fucking God he's still alive. I
Yeah.
was so nervous. I was
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, I was like, Foster still hasn't answered, and I'm getting really nervous because like he wanted to watch this one interview and he hasn't opened it, and he said he watches Zooms till 2 a.m. So what's going on? I am nervous, and then I was relieved. Yeah, so like they've been intense. So like, but there's also been fun ones like the people I know that I'm catching up with, like people like you know what I mean? Like, speaking of positive role models with women in LA area, like Devin, her interview is so funny.
Really? Good.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, my brother said that's his favorite interview to watch, because like all she does is like say fucking bro every other word. It's like one of those.
For sure.
So, but there's also good speakers I had on here, like Richie Blair. He did an episode with me. So, and he is like one of the best speakers that I've seen, like at any meeting, period.
You could ask, if you were looking for people, I bet my roommate has like 5 years sober. She's a good speaker, and I think you might like talking to her because she's from Doylestown.
Do I know your roommate?
Probably not.
Did she go around like?
Maybe she was more around West Hollywood. She's always been in like WeHo AA. Lisa Clark.
No, okay, but yeah, I'd be down. Yeah, I still have literally 2 more days that I need to fill for the rest of the month.
Yeah, I'm at a massage right now, but if you would want, I'm happy to. I'm sure she'd be happy to do it.
Now that we don't have to do messaging, just shoot me a text. Turns out I had your number the entire time from before.
I know, me too.
Like would JD pop up on your end? Like, oh shit, I had his number. Yep.
It's like I'm an idiot. But yeah, I think you'd like talking to her because it's always, kind of good to talk to people from. And she has the like Pennsylvania East Coast vibe thing that like we like.
Does she say Wooder at least?
Yeah, she says Wooder.
Okay,
way more than I do. She doesn't have a gnarly accent, but she has much more of one than I do. And it comes out when she's talking to other people who have an accent, like her mom or something.
Yeah, that's what it always is when you start talking fast and then you don't realize, and then you're like, no, they can understand me though. Like I always got to slow down with my wife, because she's from like northeastern PA, like the last exit. Yeah. So it's like I have to slow down all the time, and I can say water, I just choose not to. I choose to say Wooder.
Lisa always says Wooder.
I want you to know where I'm from. I want you to go there. You say Wooder?
Wooder. Yeah.
I'm such an asshole like that. That's like part of my spitefulness in step 6 that I don't want to drop. Is the fun part of being spiteful.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to explain to my therapist and my sponsor at the time was I can have fun with spite. Yeah. Like I just mandated masks at our meeting center only because I saw one of our regulars kept posting anti-vax shit on Facebook. So I spitefully mandated masks for everybody, whether you're vaxxed or not, because well, my wife has
MS. That's a smart thing to do anyway,
My wife has MS, so like if she gets vaccinated, it doesn't matter. Like she can still get really sick because the vaccine doesn't do anything with her immune system now. Yeah. With MS and the meds, like it doesn't touch it. So I have to be safe for her. So and plus take your anti-vax bullshit away from me. I don't want to talk to you about it on Facebook. For sure. Stop posting weird shit.
I just don't follow everybody who's like that on Facebook. I can't deal with it. Ow!
Oh my God. What is that him or is that a him?
Him. This is Vinny.
Vinny?
He's a terror. He's like 6 months old right now, so he's like really in the like gnarly.
Yeah. State. Was he just biting your face?
Yeah.
Vinny.
He doesn't bite me hard. It's like love bites,
It's like, hey, I'm here.
It's like, he's like, pay attention. Hello, pay attention to me. I see that you're not looking at me, and that's really obnoxious of you. It's like he does it a lot. It's so fucking annoying, dude. He purrs, so I know he's not trying to hurt me. Like he'll come up and crawl up on me while he's purring and bite at me, and I'm like, dude, cut it out. It's like I've looked it up. It's like a love thing,
Yeah, no, our cats are adopted, so it took them 2 weeks just to even leave their hiding spots to even try to get close to us.
Yeah. He's adopted, and he's very outgoing. He's like a dog. Like he wants to hang out with everybody, but he's just like a terror right now. He's so energetic. Hello, stop it.
Hey, buddy.
And the other cats like don't wanna. Archie, my other one, she's like 2 and she'll play with him. But Oliver, the other cat, does not want to Like, look, this is Oliver right now. Hold on, I'll show you. That's Oliver right now. And he'll
Oh my
stay
god,
for most of the day.
that is amazing.
Yeah. So
I just found my clip for this episode.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to play with Vinny.
He loves this podcast. He is so
He does.
into this podcast.
Truly, that's how he will be all day. Look, Vinny's
He's
gonna
like, "The fuck are you doing, man? Get away from me!"
He's like, fuck you. I'm trying to big.
Look at him watching and making sure he goes away. He's like, "Yeah, you keep walking, bitch."
Mm-hmm. He's so big too.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's
Thank
so
you. Thank you so much, Ellery.
You're welcome.
Sitting down and talking. Like, I'm so happy that like you got right back in, because like, you know how it is. You know, you guys are like my recovery network from when I got sober.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was hard for me to keep tabs, and also like, I'm not the kind of person. It's like, hey, you still like clean, right? You still like, I got assumptions. I see people that like I hung out with a lot, and then they start posting stuff that's like, you know, like.
Yeah.
And
you
I
can
know
tell from people's Instagram stories. You can
that's what it is. Yeah,
it's like the people, because it's like I'll still post on my stories if it's one, like it was my boyfriend's fucking 4 years the other day, and like I can post that, and then people know. Like,
yeah, when I see you on the beach and your girlfriend has a White Claw, and I haven't seen you post anything recovery based in a while, like,
yeah,
you know, there's been a few people that I've seen, and it's like, oh, you don't look good. I feel bad. Like,
Yeah.
I can't say shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that I know from like, you know, I'm just like, hopefully you find your way back in there again. You know,
there's nothing you can do. If anything, if like
all we can do is be an example of what they could have again.
Yeah, and like if working in treatment truly has taught me anything, it's like to just detach with love. Like, honest to God, my assumption most of the time is that like most of my clients are going to get loaded again. And like that's a sad thing to say, but it's just true. It's based in fact. Like every once in a while we have someone who I'm like, that person's going to stay sober, but most of the time, and that doesn't mean that I'm any different with them. It doesn't mean that I don't like try my very hardest to like support them and help them. Like, and sometimes they surprise me. Sometimes they do stay sober the whole time. But
do you take that in meetings and stuff? Do you go out to meetings with them?
I do, yeah. I work in the mornings now, so I don't anymore because they go at night. When I used to work at nights, I would take them to. They do take them to meetings.
Now, would you see the ones that were there just like not paying attention and only there to like, you know, or could you? When did you start spotting that though? Because you know the ones from like rehabs where like, you know, they don't give a shit about what's happening up front and they're disrupting the rest of the group.
There's some people like that, but it's honestly not even like, and it's much more nuanced than that for me. It's not even like blatant shit like that, but it's stuff where it's like, that person's not entirely willing. Like they're not willing to go to sober living if they're directed to go to sober living, or like tiny little things that give it away. And honestly, sometimes it's not even that. It's just like truly like my baseline expectation is that people are not going to get loaded. And like that's part of my own defects. And like, it's a little bit of a self like protective mechanism, right? Of like, I can't get attached. I can't talk to them when they leave. So like, I don't want to get attached to them. And also like people die, dude. Like I know fucking, not just one of them was a client, but the other two weren't. But in the past couple months, like I know 3 people that have died. And so like that's another reason that I always just kind of surrounded myself with people who like had more time than me, knew better than me, were gonna hold me fucking accountable. Because like those people are less likely to die. And like today I have all of these amazing relationships with like these other really strong women, which is crazy. Most of my friends are women, like by far most of them. I don't really hang out with them, you guys, not even because I don't like them. Like I do have guy friends, but just like, and that was never the case for me. I work on a peer level pretty much with all of these people who like saved my life and got me sober, and like am friends with some of the clinical people that I work with in a capacity that like when they're having a hard time, I'm one of the people that they call to talk about it and to go to meetings with. And that is fucking insane. That is fucking insane. And like that is just from 100, like I went from them trying to convince me to not run away from rehab when I was 19 years old to them like trusting me, counting on me, relying on me. And like that is 100% a miracle. Like that's just a miracle. I have this wonderful relationship with my family. Like they trust me, they count on me, they rely on me. Like I show up for them. I have this.
I wouldn't call it a miracle. You're selling yourself short of all the hard work you had to put in to even gain that trust and everything.
Sure, of course. And it's got like, I didn't do it on my own. I could not have done it on my own. Like
you shouldn't do it on your own.
I really was, especially in that first year, like carried by the people around me. I have this like great and healthy relationship. I have this boyfriend who like I was friends with for years before we got together and who respects me and treats me well and like takes care of me and who I feel completely like safe and comfortable to be entirely myself with and who I like makes me want to be a better person. And that's a miracle. You know, like that was never, I've had plenty of fucking relationships in my life, even in sobriety, that have been like incredibly toxic and incredibly messed up and like, and where I behaved terribly too. That was always one of the areas in which like even through sobriety, I used to act out in, right? It was like with men in relationships. And so the fact that like I have this like wonderful person now as a partner is insane. Like all of it is fucking insane. And even when like I've been having kind of a hard time recently, I started going back to school, which was like a really nerve-wracking thing for me. I was always like really, it's just like weirdly, I hate the word triggering, but like it's always just like triggering, and I've just always been really resistant to it. And like I was able through the like support of like my coworkers and my friends to like sign up to go back to school, and like work has been hard recently, and I have these like issues with my back that I've been working on, and there's all this stuff going on. And through all of that, like there has not been a moment where I've thought that it was not going to be okay eventually. Like even when it fucking sucks, I know that universally I'm going to be okay. Or where like I thought that getting loaded was a solution. That's just not on the table for me anymore. And I'm super grateful for that.
I'm super grateful. Are you kidding me? Because it is not easy. Like it is definitely not easy.
All right. Thank you so much. It was so good
problem.
to see you.
You too. Have a good day.
You
See
too.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.